One of my recent clients, a health and wellness coach, reached out to me and she was doing something that I see frequently online. She had this fantastic business, this transformational business that changed people's lives, but was running it in the shadows, word of mouth only. No website, no logo, no real online presence as of yet, but she knew she needed to put herself out there. And I also know when she came to me, she was concerned about what people will think and what will happen when she actually puts her true self out there front and center for everyone to see. Today, I'm going to talk about her story of coming out of the shadows and why playing it safe online might be the riskiest thing you can do for your business. But here's the thing, even if you already have a website and a logo, there are signs that you still might be playing it safe. I'm going to share those signs with you today because playing it safe isn't protecting your business. It actually might be making you invisible to the people who need exactly what you offer. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're joining me today. Thank you so much for listening. Quick introduction, if we haven't already met, my name is Jenny B, and I own Jenny B Designs. We're a brand and web design studio, and my passion is helping small business owners just like you design a beautiful and authentic personality-packed website that truly reflects who you are, what your business is, and attracts your ideal clients and makes you money. Let's get into the episode about the businesses that are playing it safe. And I think that they fall into two categories. The first one is that shadow business that I started the episode about, my client. She had no online presence. She had a great service, but was completely invisible online. She was getting clients from word of mouth only and only to certain people that she wanted to share about her business. She wasn't sharing it with everyone. She had no website, no logo. And I think that she was afraid to put herself out there publicly, as are a lot of new businesses. They know that they need to be online, but they're paralyzed by this fear. And it could be a fear of what others will think, a fear of imposter syndrome, just not knowing what to do and how to take the next step. That would be the first type of business, the one that has no online presence. Then there is the generic business online that has the safe online presence. It has the website, it has the branding, but it's completely vanilla. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's almost like you looked up, if I were a website designer, I just looked up, what does a website designer website look like? And it has pictures of websites and it just has jargon about how I design 5-page websites and everything that it includes. And it looks like everyone else in my industry. Completely vanilla. I would be hiding behind that jargon, that corporate speak that I have on the website. There's no personality to it. For me, I like to have a balance of that approachability when I work with the client. And you can tell when you go to my website in both the design and the feeling. But these safe businesses, it's just writing what they think needs to be on the website. It's professional, but forgettable. Why these two businesses are playing it safe? Because of fear of judgment, not wanting to look professional enough. Maybe they're worried that their real personality will turn people away. They think like they need to sound like everyone else to be taken seriously. And I know I did when I started my business 10 years ago. In fact, I think that's what I did. I Googled other website designer websites and I saw what they were doing and I just wrote something that was super generic. And I was choosing being invisible or generic over being authentic and bringing out my true personality. That's why some businesses play it safe. If you have a business that you think could be playing it safe. Here's how to tell. These are the signs. There are a couple of different signs. The first one is visually. If you look at your website, are you using stock photos? Do you not have any real photos of you or your work or your business or your staff? If you're using stock photos, that's the first sign. If you look at your colors, your color schemes and your palettes, they don't reflect your personality. And I say that. What do I mean? Well, if you look at a lot of website designers' websites, marketing websites, there's a lot of blue, there's a lot of green. It's very blue. I'm going to say blue again because it's a lot of blue heavy. It's just like everyone else. It's the color that you think of when you think of these websites. If you go to my website, you can see that there is not a single bit of blue on there. I have a bunch of different muted, modern, clean colors, very, very gentle on there. If you look at your colors and they don't reflect truthfully who your brand is and your personality, that's another sign. Your layouts on your website, are you just pulling simple layouts that look exactly like your competitors? Or do you have a little bit of uniqueness in there? And it doesn't have to be something crazy different, but something that it makes you stand out a little bit. Just maybe a way that a picture is, or the corners are a little bit rounded. Or maybe there are two photos. Maybe something is overlapping in a section. Something gentle, a layout that looks a little bit different than your competitors. There are no visual elements on your website that are uniquely yours as well. That's another sign. When you go to my website, you can tell that everything flows together, that there are same colors. I have stars, gentle stars in certain places, and that's part of my branding. Finding a way to incorporate visual elements that are uniquely yours is another great way to show that you're not playing it safe when it comes to your visuals. The content signs that you should look out for is copy. And when I say copy, I mean the words on your website that could work for any business in your industry. You read the words on your website and the client goes, okay, like if you're a marketing firm and they read about what you do and you're offering social media marketing and you offer marketing materials and you can create brochures and there's nothing that makes it different. The copy could be for any of your competitors. That's a sign. If you go over to your About page and it just lists your credentials, where you went to school, any kind of certificates that you've got, and it doesn't truly tell the story of who you are, why you started this business, and why you are uniquely positioned to solve your potential clients' problems, that's a sign. On your services page, those descriptions that you have over there sounds like any other business. There's nothing that makes you unique. There's no signature method or unique approach mentioned on this page. That is another sign that you could be playing it safe. The ultimate test would be if you took away your business name and logo, could your competitor use this website? Would it work for them? Or if you had the copy on your website and you shared it with your favorite client and asked them, who does this sound like? And when they're reading it, they say, oh yeah, that sounds like Jenny. That is who she is. That's a sign that you are not playing it safe. And then, of course, your photos. Does your photos represent your business or do they just look professional? I'm interrupting this episode to ask you a question. Is your website working as hard as you are? You've invested in a website, but if visitors aren't becoming paying clients, something's missing. My website audit is a professional review where I will analyze your site and identify exactly what's blocking conversions. You'll get a prioritized action plan with specific changes to turn more browsers into buyers. So stop guessing what's wrong and get some clear answers. Book your website audit today. The link is in the show notes. Now back to the episode. If they just look professional, that's not going to do it these days. It means that you're playing it safe. You need to have that extra little bit of authenticity, of personality, especially today with AI and everything being so easy to write copy and to create these images and do whatever you want. If it just looks professional, I think that you are missing that extra 10%. If it represents your business, that makes the biggest difference. Let's go back to my client. I'm going to share a little bit about her transformational story and how we worked together and what actually happened. If you remember, she was the wellness coach. She had no online presence. She had clients that really loved to work with her, but she was invisible to new people. In fact, she was only telling certain people about her business. And she knew that she was limiting her reach. She worried about being judged, about putting herself out there, about not being professional enough, but decided that it wasn't enough. She wanted to take the next step. That's why she reached out to me. Hiding wasn't helping her, it was limiting her impact. She finally understood that people couldn't benefit from her help, her services, if they couldn't find her. And she's such a great example. She decided that embracing authenticity was better than being invisible. And she committed to showing up as herself. I know she had fears when we first started working together, and she told me about them. But even though she had those fears, she knew she had to go and do this. So how this translated into a website that we created together, the first thing is that she went out and got a brand shoot. And not just a mini brand shoot. She went all out there and she did a beautiful, I think maybe 20, 25 photo shoot of herself in her office, of her doing some yoga poses. She created some branded stock imagery. And what does this mean? She had some beautiful props and she had some plants and she created some images that just had those, a flat lay, if you want to call it, that we could use in the background of her website. It was like a background photo, but it was her things, her props that were actually in that photo. That was the first step. She got those professional photos. Then we designed a logo that reflected her personality. We didn't use any generic wellness symbols. We used her name and her colors and some really modern, clean fonts to represent who she was. That was a second step in picking out some color palettes that resonated with her. A lot of times you see the health and wellness using greens and orange. She knew that she wanted to use some navies with a pop of gold and some earth tones in there because she was very grounded in her approach to everything. Very different. We picked colors that matched her brand. And then it came to writing the copy, and she worked with a copywriter on this with me. And her copywriter was able to pull out her actual voice, including her personal story, why she got involved. And my favorite part of working with a copywriter is that they have the unique gift to talk with you about your business and get to the essence of what you do and what makes you different. And from there, to be able to pull it out onto the page. And then finally, we put together all of these three different things, the logo, the branding, and the copy onto her website in a way that reflected who she was and showcased her unique systems, her methodologies, and the client transformation she's had as of yet. And what this did was that she started getting qualified inquiries instead of just referrals, and more clients reaching out, because if you remember before, she was afraid to tell people about her business because she was just telling certain people and coming out to certain people and asking for clients that way. But now she's made this announcement, this is who I am and this is who I'm looking to work with. And she feels confident sharing out her website. She also feels confident networking, because when she meets someone, she now has a beautiful business card with her logo and her email that directs people to her website. And she knows that when she meets someone at this networking meeting, she can send them back to her website to learn more about how she can help them. They can research her after that initial meeting, and that everything is there for them to get started with her on the website. And her business growth has become sustainable instead of being dependent on that networking with just a few people. It's that ripple effect. That's what happens when you stop being in the shadows and come out and embrace your true personality and who you are. Now, if you are ready to stop playing it safe, if you found yourself resonating with the shadow business or the existing business, the first one for those shadow businesses, the ones that haven't embraced who they are, Start with your story. Think about, why did you start this business? And then invest in some photos that show you working, show what you're doing. Maybe you don't have that full brand shoot, but start with a mini shoot. Get a few photos of you. That's going to be the first step. I think that that's going to really help you understand what you do and see yourself. And then from there, you can create a simple website that reflects your real approach, that's written in your voice, not in the jargon, the corporate jargon, or the professional jargon that you see on every website. Write some copy in your voice and use those images and create a simple website that reflects your personality. Those existing businesses that went through the list and thought, yeah, I am actually playing it safe, inject your personality into your site. Go back and look at your images. If you've got generic ones, replace them with authentic images. Do a little brand shoot. Rewrite your about page. Include your actual story about why you started this business and why you're uniquely you. And if you don't have an image of yourself as the business owner on the about page, add something. That's another way that you might be playing it safe. Add your unique perspective, your signature approach to your services page, and include client stories that highlight that specific approach in the form of case studies if you can on your blog. You want your personality to show through your design and your content choices throughout. And for a reminder, why does authenticity work better than hiding, being safe? Because people want connection. People choose businesses to work with when they feel connected to them. Authenticity builds trust faster than credentials. I share a lot about the emotional connection that your website needs to make. And having that personality in your website, it creates that emotional connection. Being different, slightly different, doesn't have to be, out there different, but different makes you memorable. This translates to your business because then you're attracting clients who value your specific approach. You are spending less time educating unqualified prospects. People are coming to your website, learning about you, and they decide, yes, I do want to work with Jenny, and they reach out. And you're building stronger and longer lasting relationships. The clients that I've worked with have been amazing, and they've come back to me over the years because we do build this long-lasting relationship. We both value what each other brings when we work together, and it makes these relationships, these client relationships, stronger. And it makes your marketing feel natural. There are so many ways that businesses have to market their business, but when you bring your personality out and you stop playing it safe and bring it out online on your website, it makes your marketing feel natural. So I hope this episode gave you something to think about. And if you find yourself playing it safe and are wondering ways that you can make your current website a little bit better to bring out your personality a little bit more, I would love to help. I offer website coaching calls, and together we could go through your website and identify a few different areas that you can make simple changes to that would better reflect your personality online. You can learn more about that in the show notes. And I thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.